In the headlines, government turns to technology to stem crime. An increase in bar fees in the offing for lawyers. The NCS using all available platforms to promote Cropover. And in sports, the World Test Championship final headed for an exciting climax.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Tisha Hines with the details to the news. Wiretapping and lie detector testing are among the new measures government intends to introduce as it ramps up its response to rising crime. Prime Minister Mia Motley made the revelation today as she expressed being absolutely horrified and upset about recent crimes against seniors in particular. Our Crystal Hoyt was at the media conference and she joins us now with the details. Crystal, what can you tell us?
Tisha, Prime Minister Motley said she felt it was time to address the nation and provide an update on the country's crime-fighting efforts. With that in mind, she indicated that Barbados is well on its way to introducing legislation that allows for wireless communication to be intercepted and used in the law courts.
We would have spoken previously to you that a consultative process on wireless intercept legislation and being able to use the intercepts as evidence in a law court, and indeed that draft was passed to the Advisory Council on Citizenship Security, and it has now to go to the full council. And once that is received by us through the Office of the Attorney General, the Cabinet and the Parliament will take the necessary steps to introduce that legislation, conscious that in many instances intel is available, but if you can't use that intel as evidence, there is then a lacuna, a break between what you can carry to court and what you know.
Prime Minister Motley says this can no longer obtain. She also shared that government is now at an execution stage as it relates to a truth verification process, more commonly known as lie detector testing. According to her, equipment has been purchased and training provided. Additionally, the Attorney General will be meeting with trade unions as the administration presses ahead with this measure.
The truth verification testing is not focusing on any category of worker. It's focusing on persons who have access to certain secure spaces. And if you have access to certain secure spaces, then we need to ensure that you are acting with the integrity that we need you to act with, such that the rest of the society is not put at risk. The truth verification testing, therefore, is a fancy set of words effectively for what? A lie detector test? A lie detector test. And therefore, it will be subjecting both public and private sector persons. We accept that persons cannot be forced in certain circumstances to do it, and therefore, if they can't work, they won't have access to those areas and may have to be placed in other jobs. But the AG will continue those discussions.
The Prime Minister also responded to online comments regarding tint regulation.
My car will have and be subject to the same tint regulations as anybody. So I don't want any exemption for my car and my office as Prime Minister. And if outside hot, I can be hot with you. And if it ain't hot, I can be cool with you. But what I'm not going to do is ask Bajans to do something that I am not prepared to do myself.
Prime Minister Motley reminded that the Barbados Police Service specifically asked for this measure to be implemented.
We're not asking for you to remove all tint, but we're asking for you to regulate the tint. If that particular officer or officers have to approach a car, it is all black tint. They don't know what they're facing. They don't know whether they're underreacting, overreacting, whether their life is in their hand, whether they will be standing. That is the reality of what we are facing. And while I would like to be able to say that we can not cause everybody an inconvenience, when I put the inconvenience to the individual in the scales against the risk to the life of the handful of people who we have protecting us every day and every night, I don't need to tell you where the scales are landing.
Tisha, those are some of the major announcements coming out of today's press conference with Prime Minister Motley.
Hey, thank you so much, Crystal. Comprehensive coverage. However, if you missed the press briefing, we will bring it to you live on TV8. We'll bring it to you just after the live presentation of news and lotteries. That's around 8:03. A call tonight for lawyers to pay higher bar fees. It is coming from Attorney General Dale Marshall. He says this is necessary to equip the Barbados Bar Association with the finances to pay for changes that must be made to meet the evolving dynamics of the legal profession. The Attorney General made his position clear on the issue while addressing the opening ceremony of the Law Reform Commission's two-day symposium on the draft Legal Profession Bill 2025. Our Anesta Henry has that story.
Some of the new initiatives outlined in the draft legal profession bill will require careful planning, recruitment of personnel, and the provision of adequate funding to ensure smooth implementation. Attorney General Dale Marshall is suggesting the Barbados Bar Association consider making the step to raise its fees to foot the cost of implementing the new initiatives.
I am minded to tell you that bar fees have gone unchanged for decades, and young attorneys will pay $300 and silks, whether you consider yourself KC, SC or what. Silks only pay $1,500, and speaking as a part of the executive, it will be difficult for us to ask the taxpayers to carry the administrative burden for these things that your professional organization is going to have to grapple with. The time has come perhaps when you need to consider increasing the fees. It is difficult to see, for those who do personal injury matters, just work out the inflation table of what $1,500 was 50 years ago and see what it is worth today.
And the Attorney General is making it clear that the new initiatives are vital for the bar to be able to serve its constituents going forward.
I have to tell you, while I'm prepared to make a case to the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance for some additional support, the bar is really going to have to look seriously at increasing its fees from its members so as to be able to carry those additional costs.
Chairman of the Law Reform Commission, Sir David Simmons, says from reading the bill, it calls for a substantial increase in the administrative and regulatory obligations of the bar. He says these relate to new rules for accounting, continuing legal professional development, advertising, and contingency fees.
Secondly, the accreditation committee will require funding and training. And thirdly, the Bar Council has drawn attention to the likelihood of an adverse financial impact of the new requirements on legal practitioners of 5 or less years core.
Professional legal companies, accounts, the power of the Bar Council to protect client property, legal education and continuous professional development, discipline, and a professional indemnity insurance and compensation fund will be discussed during the symposium. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Classes were interrupted at Frederick Smith Secondary School today after teachers walked off the job following a female teacher being struck behind her head with a rock thrown by a student. The teacher, who sought medical attention, reported the matter to police. President of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Mary Redmond, who visited the Trent St. James-based institution along with members of the Barbados Union of Teachers, said this is the second incident involving student-on-teacher violence to happen in the space of weeks. She says another teacher was struck with a bottle. Particles from the bottle entered her eye, and she is still receiving treatment for that injury. Redmond tells CBC News the educators are fed up with the concerning levels of student-on-teacher violence at that institution.
I instructed her to ensure that she also reported the matter to the police station and insist that the student be charged, because we are telling all of our members that anytime they are the victims of student-on-teacher violence, they are to report the matter to the police and insist that the police press charges. We also feel that, as we have said for many years now, that parents have to be held accountable for the actions of their children in circumstances just as these.
General Secretary of the Barbados Union of Teachers, Gilbert Carmichael, is also condemning the incident.
Today's events compounded the matter. Officials from the Ministry of Educational Transformation are to meet with staff tomorrow, Friday, in an effort to hear from them and seek solutions on the way forward. The Barbados Union of Teachers will continue to urge the Ministry of Educational Transformation to urgently attend to the challenges facing this institution to provide a safe teaching and learning environment for all.
Meanwhile, Minister of Educational Transformation Chad Blackman met with the Barbados Union of Teachers to discuss matters affecting educators, including violence in schools. Minister Blackman says violence in schools is simply unacceptable.
And I want to make it abundantly clear that the Ministry of Educational Transformation has a zero-tolerance policy towards this state of affairs and will work in partnership with the unions so as to ensure the safety and security of teachers, students, and staff at all of our institutions across the country. Our nation's teachers must, and I repeat, must never be threatened, attacked, or made to feel unsafe whilst doing their job.
The Frederick Smith School will remain closed tomorrow to allow for ministry officials to meet with staff. The Barbados Light and Power stands ready for this year's Atlantic hurricane season. From as early as January, a review of critical procedures was undertaken and updated as necessary, and changes have already been made to some of its infrastructure, with all of its switchgear now indoors. Rachel Agard attended a press conference at their St. Peter substation where plans were revealed and files this report.
Officials at the Barbados Light and Power Company Limited have been working to improve its communications in providing information to customers and the means by which information is disseminated. With over 400 employees participating in restoration efforts in the event of an outage, management is generally pleased with the efforts following last year's Hurricane Beryl, and the public is reminded that they will not respond to reports of power outages until the all clear has been given.
We normally have a lot of customers call in saying their power is off, but understand for safety reasons we cannot respond at that point in time. We are going to respond as soon as it is possible to respond. So we ask you to bear with us during those periods of time. We also advise customers not to venture out at that point in time because it could be unsafe for you as well.
Customers have been advised that critical infrastructure will be restored first before the entire system is brought back online. Additionally, engineering officials have disclosed that most of the network's impact is from trees. They are urging the public to deal with trees near to and surrounding their properties and to remove all unnecessary signage on electricity poles.
We have a lot of trees in the country and in those areas, so we always have to deal with the tree aspect of it. The unfortunate thing is that if a big tree falls, we cannot deal with it. It takes us too long to try to clear it. So normally you have to wait till the government comes, put their things in place to clear those trees. And once those trees are not cleared, we can't build the lines back, so we can only come up to the point where the tree has fallen. So people might say, well, yeah, you ain't getting me back on, we putting on the rich people first. No, it's not that. It is how the network has to be built out. And that's one of the most difficult things you have to deal with when you have a hurricane.
In the event of a problem, the public is asked to record the pole number which is involved for crews to be able to reach them in a timely manner.
There are a number of ways you can communicate. The traditional method that most customers tend to use is via via telephone, via calling us at 626 either 4300 or 9000, and you will reach any one of our agents during that time. In addition to that, though, we want to encourage customers to use our WhatsApp, and that is 262-4300.
Barbados Light and Power can also be reached through its usual platforms or through its ECI Restore app, which is available on both Google Play and the Apple App Store. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Coming up, NCF reveals what it will use to push the Cropover Festival as it announces this year's sponsors. The National Cultural Foundation is using social media to drive the island's sweetest summer festival. And the services of Cropover influencers and ambassadors are being used to promote and inform the public about the Cropover Festival. Chief Executive Officer Carol Roberts says they ensure the festival is viewed through their lens. Speaking at the media launch for Cropover, Ms. Roberts said the festival does not belong to the NCF but Barbados. She extended thanks to the Calypsonians, Calypso tents, band leaders, vendors, media practitioners and sponsors. Courtesy Garage is back again as the sponsor for the Pickety Crop Finals and Flow for Grand Kadooment.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for making this festival possible, for making so many people smile for a variety of reasons. They're making money, making a contribution to the economy. They're shaking off all of their cares and weariness and just having a great time, whether it's at an NCF-produced event or a private event. I end by asking all of us to treat the festival with responsibility. Not just our own personal responsibility as we hydrate and, drink responsibly and look out for each other, but let's also treat the festival responsibly. It really is more than a festival.
The NCF chairman, Jasmine Babb, thanked all for the role they play in the festival and urged the public to ensure the festival is a memorable one.
As we look ahead to the coming weeks, we do so with excitement, with pride and with gratitude. Let us celebrate safely, responsibly, and joyfully. And let Cropover 2025 be a season to remember.
The orange economy is bursting with color, creativity, and endless possibilities. And Chairman of the Barbados Broadcasting Authority, Dr. the Honorable Alison Leacock, says that economy is powering nearly $50 billion into the Caribbean annually. She was speaking during the media launch of the Caribbean Broadcasting Union's 56th Annual General Assembly. The event will be held in Barbados from August 18th to 20th under the theme Caribbean Media and the Orange Economy.
Today, our Indigenous media must step into an even brighter spotlight, becoming the driving force behind our creative industries and our Caribbean identities. I'm inviting you to join me to explore how Barbados and Caribbean media can unlock the true potential of our creativity. We'll explore how thriving media means thriving economies, flourishing cultures, and empowered communities.
Nominees for the 36th Caribbean Broadcasting Union Media Awards have been announced and will be hosted during the CBU's Gala. This year saw 551 submissions in 61 categories from 30 organizations representing 11 countries in the Dutch, English and Spanish-speaking Caribbean, and a lone pan-regional entity representing a 13% increase in entries compared to last year. Owner of Okoye by Kim Butcher, says having started her business during the COVID-19 pandemic, she used design, creativity, and storytelling to her advantage.
We often speak of the creative economy in terms of talent and creativity, but creativity alone is not enough. The creative economy needs structure. It needs support, and the most powerful systems we have is media. Media is how we take a product or an idea and position it for visibility. Media is how we shape perceptions and attract investment. Media is how we move our stories from bedrooms to boardrooms, from passion to purpose to profit. And critically, media is how we say to the world and to ourselves, we are worthy.
Sports Night, brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL.
Time now for sports with Damien Best.
Yes, good evening to you, Tisha. Wicketkeeper batsman Nicholas Pooran and all-rounder Jason Holder will captain two teams in a Major League Cricket tournament which bowls off tomorrow at the Oakland Coliseum in the USA. Holder will be at the helm of the Los Angeles Knight Riders, while Pooran, who retired from international cricket this week, will lead Mumbai Indian New York. San Francisco Unicorns, Washington Freedom, Texas Super Kings and Seattle Orcas are the other teams in the competition.
The Business Report, brought to you with the compliments of Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Barbados' level of unemployment was at an historic low during the first quarter of this year. That's according to Prime Minister Mia Amor-Maudsley, who was speaking during a media conference this afternoon.
Received information last week that the lowest ever unemployment rate in the history of Barbados was at the end of March of this year, when our unemployment went to 6.3%. That does not mean that I'm satisfied with us overcoming the problem of underemployment, and the government is setting itself now to deal with the issues of underemployment. But I make that point to be able to drive home that even as we speak, and we have achieved these things by working together, it must give us comfort now that we can also wrestle down other problems.
A new avenue in the renewable energy vehicle sector is now open in Barbados. Caribbean Auto Retail Sales Cars at Lairs St. Michael introduced a new line of plug-in hybrids and hybrid pickups to the local market. Sales manager Marsha McKnight tells the Business Report they're manufactured by Great Wall Motors and represent a new venture and new avenue for consumers.
More options as the market develops in the presence of the internal combustion engine vehicles. That's how sales manager Marsha McKnight says the company developed its conversations as the interest grew with the presence of the new vehicle variants. She says the acceptance of the car's line of vehicles in Barbados has been well received and there's more to come.
The beauty of hybrid vehicles, plug-in hybrid vehicles, hybrid pickups, is that it not only are they environmentally friendly, not only do you get government incentives, but they have a lesser impact on the environment. So not only are these cars very stylishly done, not only are they very well engineered, not only are they affordably priced, but they're also great for the environment.
The sales manager says system surveys have indicated the new dealership is making its presence felt in the local marketplace.
Over the space of a year, we have seen tremendous growth. To date, we have captured 6% of the Barbadian new vehicle market share, which is very impressive for a first year of performance. Also, our customer survey satisfaction reports and our net promoter scores have been quite high. We find that we've had quite a bit of buy-in from the Barbadian people, and we're very grateful for it.
And because of the ongoing developments taking place in the auto industry, some education is necessary on the new vehicles to sensitize and give comfort to individuals in their development process.
Not all persons are ready for a full EV. Some persons may, just, kind of dip their foot in the pool with just a hybrid, right, at the start. But from the moment you're interested to the moment that you drive away, we do everything we can to ensure that you understand the vehicle that you're purchasing. We explain all of the features, and with servicing being included, you really have no need to, find yourself tinkering around with the car, right? Because, that's included, so you would take the vehicle to us for servicing.
And in what could be called an outreach program, the sales manager says they will come to you should you not be able to get to them. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Sports Night, brought to you with the compliments of Great Health Works, agents for Omega XL.
Well, Damien is back this time, starting with some netball action.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much, Tisha. Well, St. Barnabas Netball Club were in fine form last night, defeating Wow Shotters in the latest matchup of the BNA Division 1 League competition. Playing at Friendship, St. Barnabas led all quarters, 8-4, 18-10, 32-16, before closing out the contest at 44-22. BNA Division 1 showdown at Friendship featuring Wow Shotters in green versus St. Barnabas. Lob pass picks out goal shooter Nikita Cyrus in the circle, takes aim and converts.
Shotters hitting their straps early, taking the aerial route. Cyrus with another opportunity, misses the first. Goal attack. Stephanie Young cleans up, made 5 of 9 attempts. St. Barnabas, who started slowly, would finally connect the dots. Trishan Dean with 32 from 50 attempts and Jada Smith 12 from 30 showed their versatility, sharing the goal attack and goal shooter's bib. The St. Barnabas train hit high gear as they established an 8-point lead at halftime, 18-10. Second half action, change of ends, Shotters being marked closely. Cyrus, quick hands, not going to miss from there. Converted 15 goals from 21 attempts. But the defense needed to be a little more proactive. Too much space on offer. Smith drills it for St. Barnabas. Up 32-16 in the third quarter. The rest of the match was a mere formality. Dean with that 20-20 vision. More of the good stuff. Great flexibility and range. Dangerous Dean doing it in style. St. Barnabas just too good in this one. Eventually brushing aside Wow Shotters 44-22.
And that's news. Thank you so much for joining us. Do have a good evening.